Hello there, internet. How's it going? Welcome back to the show. My name is Pat Dan, and today we're going to be playing a little drawception. Back to the pubs. Let's see our notifications. We got a completed game, so we can check that out. This is the one we did last time, where I got funny fries, and I did not make the fries very funny. But such is life. Such is life. Okay, so it started off with screaming French fries, and we got this screaming French fries. We got funny fries, and then that's us where we threw a wrench in the works. I feel like this doesn't look very much like laughing French fries, but I can see the kind of almost Joker esque resemblance, um, where you might think it's laughing, so I can understand that. And then we got McDonald's fries. McDonald's fries. Box of McDonald's fries. I like that they're orange as well. That's very nice. Um, and then we got a typical McDonald's fries container. Fries from McD's. So pretty tame game if you ask me. Things went pretty solid. Just about as you'd expect from a fry based game. Not much to come of it. Okay. Let's look for a little bit of other stuff for us. Okay, what is Trico? Trico sleeping? I don't know what Trico is. I have no idea what this is. We will skip that. In which case, we will skip that. We got a root beer float. That's we're gonna say singing root beer float. That's pretty. I think that's pretty solid. I think that's a pretty solid description of what I saw there. Her he. Um. Okay, I'll take that. We can do like a maniacal laughter kind of thing, like those fries were doing, but in a similar vein, but not exactly. And we can do like I have no idea. We'll figure it out as we go, I guess. Um, what's one thing that I've been noticing recently? As I meet more people who are incoming college freshmen, what I begin to notice is that there's like a lot more of an awkwardness than you'd expect. Obviously, you'd expect it to be an awkward moment in your life, right? Like um you're not quite all that comfortable. You're not, in your element so much as you have been in previous years. But I feel that being a college an incoming college freshman is like significantly more I don't know if that there's a word for it. It's like a certain kind of awkwardness where everyone else is struggling just as much as you are in terms of discomfort, and yet you're still not even able to take solace in that fact. So you're both sitting knowing that the two of you are equally as uncomfortable as one another and not making any efforts to try and connect at all. Despite that, at least in my experience, that's kind of what I've noticed. Um, or the experiences I've had have kind of been that way, which is very, very interesting, to say the least. I think one of my least favorite parts of of being with other socially awkward people is when neither of you want to talk. Um, because at least when you're in a room with extroverts and you're like the only introvert, they try to engage you in conversation, and you can take that as you will. You can kind of decide, okay, I'm going to engage with this person, or I'm going to ignore them. Like I'm going to try my best, or I'm going to completely just stonewall them. It's all gives you options. It gives you decision making opportunities. Um, Whereas when neither of you want to speak to one another, you get no options. The only option is sit in silence, awkwardly staring at your phones. Um, that's a very introvert thing, I think. Staring at your phone is like it's such a crutch. As an introvert, whenever I'm in whenever I'm in a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable, like it's such an easy out to just be like, okay, I'm not gonna look at anyone, like I'm not gonna make any eye contact. I'm just gonna stare into the soul of my technology, and not experience this social situation. And that's like a newfound kind of crutch in the age of technology, obviously, but one that I have tried very hard to combat as much as I can. Obviously, I fall prey to it quite frequently. I'm not um I'm not a magician, so I have no way of not letting this technology, whose honestly entire purpose is to attract my attention. It's hard to not let it do that. Obviously, that's what the applications want. They want you to sit and scroll for as long as possible. Instagram is just a time hog. It's like a needy relationship, like a clingy person who never wants to let you hang out with anybody else, and they're always like forcing you to talk to them no matter what. Which I personally, I feel like I am I'm guilty of that. but regardless, I think it's very easy to fall into that trap of being like, okay, I'm just gonna sit in my phone. Um, and it's a very weak feeling for me. Like I, whenever I do that, I always feel like I've kind of failed my opportunity to engage with others. Like every opportunity is like potential new friend making. Like any of these strangers could possibly be new friends, and you can't know whether or not it's going to pan out that way until you give it a shot, right? You have to at least try, if you want to get some kind of closure on that, on could we be friends or not. Um, and sometimes your phone just beckons and you don't even get the opportunity to try, which is like a very saddening moment. I think, for me at least, I find it to be somewhat saddening, but it happens quite frequently to me. And I try my best not to. Whenever I'm with other people, the one thing I kind of do on purpose is like I won't even touch my phone. Even if we're not saying anything to each other, I won't look at my phone cuz it forces me to sit and like bask in the awkwardness, um which is like, the situation I'm in. It makes me experience where I'm at. And though it may be uncomfortable, that's kind of the beauty of it. And it might not mean, you may think, "Oh, okay, that's a good idea," cuz then you'll like be inclined to want to change it, right? Like you'll be like, "Oh, this sucks. Now I have no choice but to talk because I have to sit in this, and if I don't say anything, then it's just going to continue to be this way." But it doesn't really, because if you're a true like raw-blooded introvert, you'll see that and then just be like, "All right, guess I have to sit here now and just like be weird, and I mean, there's nothing I can do about it." And that's just the way it is. And that happens quite frequently, but I still would rather sit with it without my phone than use my phone as a crutch. I still would rather not look at my phone, regardless of whether or not that means I speak up or not. Um, because I'm tired of not experiencing life, good and bad, for the better or for the worse. I'd rather be in the moment than lose it all to this monster feeding on my attention, known as my cellular device. That's kind of where I'm at in terms of my relationship to my phone at this point. And it's kind of a losing battle at this moment, to be honest with you. I'm losing the fight, but it's a fight that I will persist in. Just because I'm losing doesn't mean I'll give up. I do have it set to, like, you see these videos about digital minimalism. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but there's been this like kind of interesting movement from younger generations to like, so I sound like an old head by describing it this way, but it is true, but it's a like a movement to switch from smartphones to older devices, like flip phones and stuff that have no access to the internet or whatever. Like you just can text and call, and that's it. Like it's bare bones necessities, which is much more difficult than you'd think. In your head, you're like, okay, that doesn't sound too bad, or maybe you do think it sounds hard. But for me, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Like that should be easy. That's like light work. I don't foresee that being a major issue. But everything like in the modern day requires a cell phone. Like you'd be amazed by the amount of things you just simply can't do by not having a smartphone. I mean, um, and that is and that is what the main struggle is. Like there's a whole dumb phone community is what they call it. And like their whole thing is searching far and wide, you know, the market for dumb phones, and finding the best devices for each scenario. You know, different people need different things, and they kind of seek out the best kind of devices on the market for whatever it is you may need. You know, like if you need WhatsApp, they have flip phones with WhatsApp on them. If you need I don't know, if you need certain things for work, if you need like if YouTube is a must-have for you, which it shouldn't be, I don't think, because there's so many other ways you can access it other than on your phone that it's kind of not even worth having on your phone. But if it's a must-have for you, they have flip phones with YouTube on them. You know, you have many different options. And I I had for a little bit I had a flip phone, but I I didn't have a completely dumb phone. I had one that was called the Cat S22 Flip, which is a very popular in the dumb phone community. You know what? I'll do a little Cat S22 illustration for you. But it's very popular in the dumb phone community because it's has so many features. It's so feature rich, which you'd think would be a detractor for people who want less features, but it's kind of not, which is very interesting. Um, but it's like one of the most highly recommended ones. At least a couple years ago it was. I don't know if it is now. I'm not all in tune with that whole scene as much anymore. But I was super into it. And just like I enjoy watching the videos about dumb phones, even if I'm not in the market for one, just because it's a super interesting piece of technology. It's like purposefully stripping back and taking away features that would otherwise be like definite must-haves in a modern device, just for the sake of it. And I think like that kind of arbitrarily imposed limitation is a super interesting thing for any kind of technology. It's something that I really enjoy. And that's one of my favorite things about like the Nintendo Switch is that it's like a pretty low power console. Just as an example of a piece of technology that's arbitrarily limited. And it's like you can't really do that much with it compared to, modern tech. And you're very limited in terms of scope as to what the developers can even do with their games. And it tends to, be super laggy, like Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Even though it was made for the Wii, it still manages to be like a laggy game, despite that, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. But I think it's just a generally interesting thing, even if you're not interested in purchasing one of these devices. It's like interesting to look into and just see. But the thing about the Cat is that it basically has all the features of a smartphone, and the only difference is the form factor. It's literally just a smartphone packed into a different shape. Um, and that in and of itself is meant to, or at least for the people who use it in the dumb phone community, it's supposed to be like a durable phone for construction. Obviously, that's why it's made by Cat. But the people in the community, it's supposed to like, the idea is because of the different form factor, you're going to be less inclined to use it. It's kind of a hassle, and you're not going to want to doom scroll on it, and it works for sure. To a certain point. And I use that, I would say, I don't know, a couple months or something before the keyboard just broke on me and it got busted. And I was like, okay, well, I can't, like the sole function of it basically for me was texting. And that's like the only thing I used it for. I didn't even really call on it. And once like that functionality was stripped away, like the keyboard didn't work, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to use the tiny little touch screen to type with my fingers. So I was like, okay, I'm switching back. But for the brief moment I had it, it was pretty nice. Anyway, I think purposefully like limiting yourself like that is a good way to kind of fight against a technology addiction. And even without changing up the hardware, you still have the capability of changing up the software that you use. And that's kind of what I've done with my smartphone at this point. Give me just 2 seconds to close my door because some people don't understand that you have to close the door. Every single time I record, every single time I stream, the door gets left open. What's the deal, guys? I can't do this. I can't do this. Okay. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't deal with it anymore. If you guys need to donate, you guys need to donate as much as money as you have access to. Steal credit cards. Do whatever you have to do. Donate to get me a lock. Okay? And for that, I will be eternally grateful. I mean, it shouldn't cost that much. I think we should be able to hit that donation goal fairly easily. There's also now an alarm going off in my room. What is going on? What is happening right now? Are you freaking kidding me? This is absolutely unacceptable behavior. I can't deal with this. I simply can't. And guess what? There's nothing I can do about it because I don't know where it is. This is like abhorrent. How does one live under these conditions is what I begin to ask myself. And I don't have the answer for you. I don't know how I do it. I guess I'm just that awesome. I guess I'm just that awesome. I'm so sick and tired of this, man. I'm so freaking sick and tired of this, man. I can't do this anymore. What the freaking freak, man? What are you doing to me, bro? I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I just don't know. Okay. I'm losing my train of thought here, man. What I was saying is another big popular thing to do in this community is like update your OS or change your phone's OS to be more minimalist. And that usually means just using a text-based OS. So like a black background with white text that just has the names of the apps. And you just like scroll through and click on the app you want. And this strategy, obviously most of these strategies are fairly counterintuitive in a sense, because you could just get rid of the phone entirely if it was that big of an issue. But the idea is that like it's so crucial and so hard to give up that it's very unlikely, you're actually going to commit to doing that. So that's kind of the reason it's so there are so many different options and stuff like that. But I have this text-based OS that's just black background, white text, and I have like limits set up on all my apps. I uninstalled basically everything that I would feasibly open by habit. There comes a point in your technology usage experience when you don't even intend to open an app. This has happened to me before. Before I like switched my OS, where I wouldn't even mean to open an app. I would just turn on my phone to like check the time. And then before I know it, I would be scrolling Instagram and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, what? My fingers instinctively click the button because my brain is so like searching for that dopamine, you know? And it's like such a monkey brain that it's like, okay, I need it. Click that button. And it just knows where the button is. So I don't even get the chance to think about it. It just happens. And that's just how it be sometimes. But the minimalist OS kind of helps with that a little bit. In any case, you know, you get the gist of it. But in that sense, I'm kind of able to keep myself off my phone in social situations where I want to be present, which is all of them, regardless of whether or not I'm speaking, because it helps me. I think I'm not trying to be like a insane purist or anything. I'm just like sharing my experience here, and I don't think you're any better off if you do this or worse off if you don't. It's just what I enjoy doing, and what works for me. But I think being able to experience the awkwardness makes me be able to, what was that? Makes me be able to better appreciate when it is not so awkward. And it gives me a more of an enjoyment out of the social situations with people who I'm more comfortable with, and I can appreciate them more, and it gives me makes me more appreciative in general, I think, for them, which is nice. It's always a nice thing. And plus, scrolling Instagram, like, what does it give you? Yeah, like, especially as a creative, if you're a creative, spending time alone in your thoughts is so valuable. Like, there's nothing more valuable than that. That's where ideas come from. That's where, you know, you think deeply about stuff, and like, you get so much out of it. It's like there's no losing there. So if you're creative, for sure, I would 100% recommend getting off technology ASAP as much as possible. Because I think that would be a huge, massive boost to just your ability to formulate ideas. Carrying a notebook around with you and just writing stuff down, like, that's kind of a genius tactic, a genius play that not many people appreciate. And it sounds kind of stupid, but it's so functional, like more so than you'd ever imagine. And you get a lot out of it. Anyways, you know, that's just kind of a little bit about what's been on the top of my head. But I do suggest a little digital detox never hurt anybody. You know, I think that that would be nice. And you'd be surprised how difficult it is. At least for me, I was surprised how difficult it was, how dependent you are. And you convince yourself that it's so necessary. Like, oh, I won't be able to talk to my friends. Like, I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do that. And then when you get into it, you're like, okay, I don't really need any of those things. Like, yeah, they're nice, and I feel their absence in my life. And I feel myself reaching for the Instagram button, and then it's not there. But realistically, you can function just fine without it. And you're more present, and you actually, you know, remember what happens in your day to day. You can recall conversations, and especially if you have trouble with focus in general, it's a good idea. It's certainly nice, and I'm not trying to be preachy or anything. You know, just a little suggestion, something that worked for me. You can try it out if you'd like to. I would certainly like to hear your experiences. If you guys have done a digital detox in the past, or are interested in dumb phones or anything like that, make sure to let me know. And you know, while you're down there, drop a like. You know, hit that bell, hit that sub button, as they say. Do they say that? They certainly say that, right? All right. In any case, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so very much for your time. I've been Pat Dan. You've been great. And until next time, kick rocks, pal. Alrighty. Bye-bye.